Jesse Lee Peterson is gay, all right? He was on the show. He started to bash members of the LGBTQ community in the bullpen, and I kicked him off the program. Now, multiple individuals that he has sexual relationships with, they did a full interview about their encounters with him over many years and the involvement that he has had with many men during his tenure as the head of Bond, which is an organization dedicated, according to preacher Jesse Lee Peterson, an organization that is supposed to rebuild men. Now remember, there is no issue with Jesse Lee Peterson being gay, in my opinion, whatsoever. The issue is his hypocrisy. This man has literally made a life and monetized off of bashing members of a community that he's actually a part of. Let me remind you of that interview a few months ago. Here it is. This is probably going to end up being an utter waste of my time having you on the show. What are your thoughts about
you
Black
don't know
Lives
that.
Matter?
You may learn something.
Well, we'll see, preacher. What is it about Black Lives Matter that you disagree with fundamentally?
Black Lives Matter was founded by a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians.
Okay.
And who
All
hate
right, have a good
God.
man. Get this clown off my show. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. I said, get this clown off my show. I mean every word of it. Now, there's one testimony I'm gonna bring you first. It's an interview. The individual gives a lot of detail. I don't have time on this show to go through all of the interviews, but here's part of it.
All of a sudden he turned to me and just looked at me and he said, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" And he said it in a tone that was really insistent. And I'd never seen this tone from him before. It was like kind of scary. It kind of scared me. Like what? What do you want to do? I knew what he meant, and then I told him, okay. And at first I'm scared, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm playing along here. It kind of threw me off my game, I guess, in a way. I think later I realized that's kind of something that people do sometimes. It's like the devil works in a certain way by intimidating you, and it throws you off your normal game. And so he said, "What do you want to do?" And he was like, "Okay, I'm scared." And then I told him what I want to do. I mentioned sex acts, that he knew about, that I had already talked to him about, that I was interested in. And next thing you know, he's ripping his clothes off and coming at me basically. And I did the same, took my clothes off. And next thing you know, we're fully at it, having, not getting into detail here, but basically full on sexual acts.
That is Mr. Patrick Rooney. Mr. Rooney has known Mr. Peterson since 1992. They have been on programs together. They have preached together. They have traveled the country together. In that testimony, in that interview of his experiences with Jesse Lee Peterson, I need you to remember there's a mixed bag here. Because while a Christian right organization did these interviews, they're not doing them to stand as allies with members of the LGBTQ community. They're doing it because they believe Jesse Lee Peterson has betrayed their sacred trust of manhood or some ridiculous garbage like that. So as far as the media company, the media platform, I don't subscribe to. But the individuals who have decided to come forward, I believe their stories are quite credible. Here's another one.
So then he starts rubbing my thighs, and I'm like, okay, what is he doing? Like, it's kind of crazy. And then he starts rubbing my genital area, and I'm like, what's happening right now? And then he pulls down my pants, and I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm not saying anything. I'm like, my face is like, whoa, what the hell is happening right now?
From there, Jesse instructed Samuel to go into his so-called meditation called the silent prayer.
And he's like, doubt all thoughts are lies. Everything Satan is telling you is a lie. And I'm like, okay, but inside is telling me, hey, this is not good. What are you doing? What are you allowing him to do?
Once again, the issue is not about the homosexuality of Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson has taken money for years to go around this country to animate violence and hate against members of the LGBTQ community. That's what he's done. And I apologize, I get emotional about this because individuals like Jesse Lee Peterson are the reason that many individuals in the community cannot be free to be themselves. Now, this is the most troubling of all of the accusations so far.
Another alleged victim was Trayvon Chapman, who in 2015 told his friend, now 43-year-old Armand Martikian, that Jesse molested him.
Well, the first thing came out of his mouth that Jesse's homosexual. And I say, he can't be saying this, like he's all against it. He's a, straight conservative man who, this is like, what you're saying is bizarre, doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it kind of struck me as a truth. What this guy was saying, he was explaining the incidents, like certain acts that they would do. They had some nicknames. Jesse had nicknames for it, say, instead of telling what the act is, he named it oral massage, according to Trayvon.
Many of the individuals who have decided to go on record, they have made it very clear they were vulnerable. They were coming from a bad place in life. Some of them were addicted to drugs and alcohol. They saw Jesse Lee Peterson as a savior to them. Mr. Rooney, when he decided to come clean to his son and his wife about his ongoing sexual affair with Jesse Lee Peterson, he said his son got mad at him because he literally believed Jesse Lee Peterson could walk on water. He called Jesse Lee Peterson with his son on the phone, and preacher Peterson admitted to the affair. Once again, he has been accepting money for damn near 30 years to go around and bash members, our brothers and sisters, part of the community. Los Angeles anti-gay pastor, online radio host, and manosphere star, Jesse Lee Peterson, is alleged to have had multiple gay relationships and exhibited a pattern of sexual harassment against male associates. Several of Peterson's former friends and associates have come forward, including one who claimed he had been in a decade-long sexual relationship with Peterson. Now, there are people who are saying, well, why are they just now coming out? There are some Jesse Lee Peterson defenders here. First of all, it doesn't matter when they come out. If they were sexually harassed by their preacher, by their pastor, they can come out anytime, okay? But the reality is many of these individuals did. Some of them tried to document this and recorded Jesse Lee Peterson as he was walking away from them. And they were saying, why did you do this to me? So this is not the first time. This is the first time everything has been coordinated and it hit an actual media platform that distributed to the masses. That's the first. The accusations have caused leading figures in the online manosphere, which is a ridiculous group they've made up, a loose network of men's rights activists, groups, and similar organizations to distance themselves from Peterson, banning him from events and speaking engagements. Now remember, he's getting canceled by insignificant white bigots. That's who's canceling Jesse Lee Peterson right now, okay? The radical right-wing Catholic Church militant group first broke the story in June with a 30-minute video. That was part of that video. The first person you saw was Patrick Rooney, who has known Peterson since 1992, claims in the video that the pastor made subtle sexual advances toward him for years, but they did not become sexually involved until 2005. Two other former Bond members. Now, let me remind you of what the Bond membership was about. He literally had men living with him at his, let's call it, compound, where he said he was redeeming men, all right? He had them living together. They were vulnerable. Many of them just came from a very dark situation to only encounter Jesse Lee Peterson. And one former friend of Peterson's also appeared in the video describing incidents in which Peterson allegedly abused or made sexual advances upon themselves and other vulnerable men. The video also alleges that in October 2020, Peterson's Twitter account liked a post featuring a gay porn clip. And that's actually true. Peterson was asked about this on his radio show. Everybody who brought it up, he claimed that they were either evil or they were gay. Peterson has reportedly refused to address the allegations in the video, telling one caller on the show that, and I quote, "is not concerning to me." Peterson has described homosexuality as the, and I quote, "spirit of the devil infecting people," and asserted that it is the result of abuse. In June 2021, Peterson, who was black, called for Christians to celebrate White History Month in opposition to LGBTQ Pride Month. This guy right here has made a living off of being a catalyst for hate, propaganda, misinformation against members of the community. Now, on a very just personal level, when I tell you I can't stand people like him, I cannot stand them. But on the general policy dynamic, these are the people that give cover to Christian evangelicals, that give cover to right-wing politicians who create policies that are antithetical to the progress of this nation. All right, my dear sister, what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, anytime we see someone like this have their personal life really played out in the news, I don't really feel bad that it's violating his personal space or his privacy, because this is someone who is frequently weaponizing ideas of gender and sexuality. The idea of the manosphere is something I didn't know of before this story, a hyper-masculine right-wing internet community. And to call it the manosphere, I mean, it's almost comedic, but I can't say it's comedic because it's pretty toxic. He asserted once that a woman who climaxes during sex is becoming a man. And people who enforce this way of thinking, I think, are insecure about their own behavior, and it's important that they're called out because this is about freedom. And when you enjoy certain freedoms in private, but create a hostile environment for others to enjoy those same freedoms in public, I just don't feel bad that you're in the news for this. And I hope that things like this happen enough, where these advocates who are doing exactly what they condemn other people for doing, I hope it happens enough that people realize it's in everyone's self-interest to stop creating these narrow buckets for sexuality and sex and gender roles, and just recognize that our experiences are complicated. Growing up, I'm a woman. I really feel like I identify like a woman. But when my mom said you have to put on the frilly, itchy socks and act like a lady, I didn't like it growing up. So, you don't have to be transgender, and you don't have to necessarily be queer for gender norms and norms around sexuality to affect you. It's important we have the freedoms to live our lives however we want to, especially the most intimate parts of our lives, without confronting prejudice in society or in the eyes of the law. And the fact that he made money off of this makes it all the more worse.
Yeah, very well said. All right, and we're gonna give you an update because I guarantee you there's an update to this story.